Hi everyone, welcome to another Spike Chat. Today we are fortunate to have Debbie with us. Debbie is the founder of niche customer experience consulting firm in Lagos, Nigeria. That's why we couldn't do this one live, but I had to have Debbie here because Debbie is doing wonderful things. You need to follow her on Instagram and everywhere. Debbie's content is so to the point and has really express some things that I have not been expressing so well. Debbie has books and has worked in the industry for a really long time. So I want us to get to know her and learn from Debbie. Debbie, welcome to Spike Chat, and I'm going to ask you to introduce our audience.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to join you today on Spike Chat. Thank you.
Tell us more about what you have done. Don't be so shy.
Right? it's always a challenge talking about myself. I can go off forever on CX. When I'm talking about Debbie. But so in very simple terms, I am what you call a customer experience entrepreneur, CX-Preneur for short. What I do is I create products, services, and platforms, as well as solutions that help businesses satisfy and retain customers. I've been doing this in the CX space for about 20 years now. Started off my career in CX from the front line, moved up to executive management level before focusing on a niche customer experience consulting firm full time. Yeah, so that's me.
Go check out Debbie. She has much more to offer than that. Today, we are going to focus on customer experience in schools. Debbie did an awesome post that really resonated with me, having worked with schools, and she really broke down like the different layers of customers really that has to be catered to when you have a school. And Debbie has also done surveys and stuff, even now during COVID-19, to see how the experience is for students and stuff. It has been really insightful. So I really appreciated that information coming from Debbie. She also went deep into the parent experience and all the different layers that has to go with it. And Debbie really reminded me of working with healthcare just because of all the different people that are involved in the customer experience outside of the person you are directly selling your product or service. Mm-hmm. So, you know, really important and something I think many persons even within schools don't consider. The healthcare industry is waking up to it more now, but schools don't necessarily focus on it like they need to. So fortunately, we had the opportunity at Spike to work with schools, and we spoke with teachers and stuff, and we really got the conversation going, and it was a great experience with them. But what has your experience been working with schools in this way?
It's been interesting because it's been an amazing opportunity. I mean, this is during the pandemic, right? Lockdown. Mm. It's been an amazing opportunity to show them how they can harness, customer experience in education as a competitive advantage. I've had to work with the school in this period, and they've just been super amazed about how we have worked with them to create some structure around their operations and managing parent expectations and managing even expectations of the students themselves, even of their teachers, because everybody just needs to stay sane and centered. It's been super amazing doing that. And I would say I've learned new things when it comes to customer experience in schools during this process as well.
Yes, I mean, that's amazing, and it's good that they have been open to it, because I found that a lot of people have been kind of stuck. They're not sure what to do, or really afraid to make changes that sometimes seem obvious to you and I. So that's really good, and I am really glad that, you know, people are becoming more aware of the value of the customer experience in relation to their growth and the longevity of their business, whether you be a school or otherwise. Because if you are not retaining your customers, I mean, and in some businesses, there is a life cycle. So people will leave in schools, but they will probably be a champion of your school because of the experience they had there. So that is something I think everyone needs to keep in mind. So I really wanted us to talk more about, you know, the breakdown that you gave so clearly about the different customer types that have to be catered to in a school setting.
Okay, that's fine. So what I have identified is that you have 4 customer types when it comes to the education sector. So you have the child, obviously, who needs to be educated, right, for obvious reasons. And then you have the parent who's paying for the education. So I'm talking about, you know, nursery, primary, secondary, and up to, you know, university first degree. And then you now have the teachers. So the teachers are the people who are delivering the learning, right? Making sure that each parent gets value for money. And by value for money, I mean each parent sees academic improvements in their children. That's the third customer type. And then the 4th customer type, which most schools don't pay attention to, is your operating community as a school, right? Very important, because that's the whole essence of brand experience. So what is your school known for?
Right.
Some people may not have the privilege of driving past your school or knowing your name to check online, but just because someone around them knows about the school, knows about the school's reputation, they can and may not recommend your school to the potential parents. So basically there are 4 customer types. You have the students, you have the teachers, you have the parents, and then you have the operating community.
That's true. That's true. And I think because there is so much going on and the challenges faced at schools now with teachers, etc., they have a lot to do. So finding schools sitting down and actually looking at the framework that you have explained and organizing themselves accordingly is really key. Otherwise, they're going to get burnt out easily and have a lot of bumps in the road with parents, etc. If they're not focusing on the needs at all these levels and trying to satisfy them as they go along. So that is really important. What you said about this, the reputation of the school is very key too. And I'm not sure if a lot of schools have really paid attention to ensuring that the reputation that they want is actually what is upheld. And based on some of the disciplinary measures or lack thereof in the school. So when a student, whether uniformed or not, is behaving undesirably, it's going to reflect on the school as well. And I know that everything is not the responsibility of the school, but I think sometimes there are gray areas outside of just what's happening inside the classroom that they really need to pay attention to. You really need to pay attention to when you think of the school as a business. So that's really it has been important to me. And the parents, I think, are one of the major keys in the equation, because the parents, as you said, the parents pay, the parents decide, but the parents also want to see results in their children in terms of the academic growth, but also how are they comfortable at school? Are their needs being met? And are they safe? And all of these other things. So the parents are really key, and knowing how to talk to them, how often you need to talk to them, what you need to be talking to them about is really, really important. So sometimes it even seems like we really need to be caring for the parents a little more sometimes than the students. They don't know everything that's happening. So having that together,
it's always interesting trying to create the balance. And sometimes I have seen schools focus just on parents and not on children. Like there are all kinds of stuff that go on. I have seen schools that deliberately, a child isn't doing well because they know that the parent does not. No, I know parents. And I'm saying this because I want to say parents, right? We want to we want to be seen as the parents of superstars, children who are extremely brilliant. So if you're the kind of parents who likes to go with the Joneses and your child isn't doing well, the school owner will feel like if I make your child repeat a class, I might lose you because you don't want to be the shame of it. Now, because of that, I would falsify your child's results so that your child gets promoted. Like, I'll move to the next class. Your child is done with primary school and does not know anything.
I've seen that too. I've seen too, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes, as you rightly said, sometimes it's catering to the parent, and at other times it's because of what we were talking about before. You want your school to maintain a good reputation, but when you have that reputation on paper, at some point people are going to realize that something is wrong here. So we need to be operating with integrity. And if we see that something is not working, we need to look at our process as opposed to falsifying things. But I must admit, I've seen it. I've seen it as well. I've seen
It's and but here's the thing. In the end, you hurt yourself because that child will move out of that school and go to another school. And he's asked, why doesn't he know these things? What school is he coming from? And then they mention the name of your school.
Yes.
So you're now beginning to build a very terrible brand reputation.
Yes.
Right? Now, if the person who did an entrance exam for your child and sees a trend from your school, they will start to advise other parents, don't take your child there. And before you know it, the school shuts down. Right? So everything comes down, even with teachers. I have seen schools where teachers don't want to go there because there's a perception that teachers are not well paid or not treated right. So you lose very good teachers who are very passionate about teaching, and then you gain those who may not necessarily be passionate or are more about the money. They just want anything. And they don't give their best. And then because you're getting a certain kind of teacher who is taking what you can afford, you start to water down on quality. So if the requirement is, if you would love to have a first degree holder, for example, you start to settle for less. So when you settle for less, you're exposing your students to less. And when your students get less, parents frown at that and they will withdraw the child.
That's true. Everything is connected.
Exactly. So if I withdraw my child, you withdraw your child, the next person. This was a school that had 200 students. And before you know it, the school now has 25 students. The neighborhood goes, what's going on? Oh, this school is not good anymore.
Yes.
And then it just dies natural death.
Yes. And then when you start, you're going to get you're not going to get persons attracted to your school the way you want it to, and the resources you have to develop your school and everything will start to dwindle and all of that. So I think you are right. Everything is connected, and we have to start connecting the dots and think about the experiences we're offering all these categories of customers holistically and how things are connected. So you are quite right, and I'm so happy that I saw you portray it so well, because I find that a lot of people tend to box customer experience into maybe retail or food service, and it's once you have a business, you have customers, you need to be thinking about your customer experience.
Yeah, that's it. There's no. So the general concept of customer experience, generically speaking, one concept, yes. But you have to contextualize that concept for your business, right? That's where I think, especially in Africa, I wouldn't want to use the word leapfrog. So we have gone from the whole just getting excited about the whole concept of customer experience and trying to meet the global trend where it's at, as against finding our place, finding our voice, specific to the continent, specific to our sectors, and then specific to the businesses. That's where we're getting it
Yes.
from.
I,
As long as you have, yeah, as long as you're in business and you have customers, whether you're a B2B or a B2C, you need to focus on customer experience. But the key thing is, what does customer experience mean to you? And that was one of the reasons why
right.
I wanted to practice CX when I was in paid employment across different sectors. I did banking, I did telecommunications, I did education. And I pretty much said, okay, there's one big framework, but then there are different interpretations of CX, right?
Right.
And just time, yes, exactly.
Yes, I am right there with you, because my background is hospitality and tourism, higher education, and construction. And it is in all of them. It's just adapted. And you have to understand what your voice is. What exactly are you trying to promise your customers that you are delivering, and how are you going to make
Yeah.
a reality? So I agree with you. We know the concepts, but how are we going to
Yeah.
bring this home to you, your goals, and what you are going to deliver? And of course, one of the things I encourage my clients to pay attention to is the fact that though we may operate locally or regionally, right now we're kind of operating globally too. Because look at schools now. Schools are largely online, and whereas we've had online classes in colleges for a while now, we haven't seen it really trickle down. But after all of this that's happening, you never know what's going to happen, or what people are going to try to start doing. So we are competing at a different level. And no matter your industry, you have to realize that people have options within your sphere, and the experience you give is what can set you apart. So I'm really
Yeah.
happy
Yeah.
we've been able to discuss it.
Yeah, I agree. And then the funny thing, I had the privilege of, just out of curiosity, engaging, students across nursery, primary, and primary, secondary schools to even understand their learning experiences. And one of the key things I found out was the challenges the students were having with the different online learning platforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, little details like that. So you are thinking to yourself, okay, there's Zoom, there's Microsoft Teams, there's Google Hangouts. Which one? You're already thinking which one is free. That's the first thing.
Yes.
But exactly. Now, if you're dealing with children in primary school, say, or early secondary school, is Hangout the most efficient platform, right? Making them
Mm-hmm.
engaged. You have primary child students on Microsoft Teams. So one of the key things that we heard, I learned from the two boys I interviewed who were in primary school, upper primary, was that they can actually mute their teacher.
Wow. They must love
And then so it's you have to be deliberate, and it speaks about, I mean, you're familiar with this, your processes and your tools, your people,
Yes.
systems, processes. You just don't, because education, not everything goes. Understand the different dynamics of the different students that you have, and that should inspire how you select your solutions that you would use to deliver the learning.
I quite
Right?
agree. We have to get into the details of it.
Yeah.
And I saw one school using an app, and they have excellent reviews actually. It's called, I think, a Dojo app or something like that. And it allows for the parent, student, and teacher to communicate and share everything effectively. So you are right.
Yeah.
We have to do the research to see exactly what we are trying to do, what's out there, and not just go with
Yeah.
what's free or what we see everybody doing. And sometimes, I do understand the fear behind it, because you're like, am I going to be doing something wrong? I don't see anybody doing this, but so you have to take the chance, especially if you want to stand out. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I
I agree.
agree with that.
Yeah. Education is interesting, to be honest. It's very interesting. And there's a competition of relevance between what you would call satisfaction and academic improvement. So when in education, I was doing CX, getting parent feedback, and measuring parent satisfaction. But I found out that parent satisfaction was largely dependent on what we now created as a KPI, academic improvement. So when you ask a parent, have you seen any academic improvement in your child? When you get a no, you get a dissatisfaction. When you get a yes, you get a satisfaction, right? Another was parent engagement. I want to know what's going on with my child.
Yes.
I want to be informed about key learning milestones, what's going on in the community. These were key drivers. So what we did at the time in the school that I was managing was we had an airtight what we call a customer engagement plan, where we would have conversations with parents, either their academic or we had those things going. And then we also had show and tell, where you had students demonstrate, not just to their parents now, to the community, what they have learned, either arts, culture, academic stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, we just created moments where parents can really feel happy. Oh, that's my child.
Yes. Yes.
That's
important.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it was also a marketing strategy. So I
Mm-hmm.
remember when we needed to open up new schools, we had like a huge opening ceremony. We had students go through stuff, demonstrate learning, like science project. It was a whole big, well-planned ceremony, right? Now we had the whole community attend. And when they attended, you have people who would look and like, oh, you could do this here? That's amazing. So after every ceremony, our admission numbers went up.
Amazing.
Because we were demonstrating the value. Exactly. They could see for themselves, children. Yeah, exactly. So,
and I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of times we are not using the right metrics or connecting things to see the impact of what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Something more of us as CX professionals have to continue to do. Yeah. So the value in what you are doing and select the right metrics. So that's important. I do agree with that.
I think we are yet to scratch the surface on customer experience metrics, if you ask me. We are still just dancing around effort score, satisfaction score.
Yes, I agree. And I started looking beyond that. I've started even looking at metrics that are used in other disciplines and how you connect that back to the customer experience, because a lot of what's happening to get to those other business metrics is not an account of the actual science of doing whatever you did. It's all steps along to get there. So I do agree with you. We have to find better ways of sorting through that metrics part and realizing that not because a metric is something that we always use means it's appropriate to use here. And you can discover new things and use it for the field that you are working in at the moment. So that's a big area. That's a big area.
I mean, I picked that up very quickly in education. So we're busy looking at satisfaction, and I realized that, wait a minute, what we should really be tracking is academic improvement. That's what we should really be tracking, because satisfaction was the outcome of the improvement. So we had to refocus, right?
Yes.
So if the child is improving, why? What's going on? And all of that even helped to the point where a lot of work started going on in the curriculum, extra learning hours. And so it wasn't the experience improvement was now more strategic, right? So that is very, 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 very important. Again, teacher experience for CX in education is also very important, because the truth is, they are your channels, they are your touch points, to be honest, like your number one touch point to your teacher. How the teacher communicates learning, how the teacher communicates with the child, how the teacher communicates with the parents. you need to make sure that they are okay, they are stable, because dealing with children
Yes,
isn't
and
a
they're taken care of. It's just it's
exactly.
like they are the employee experience talking to you right there.
Yes, yes. So you have to think about the teachers. And one of the things that I tried to do while I was in education, because so in my portfolio as director of customer experience, I was responsible for setting up, launching new schools, filling the schools with sales marketing. I was responsible for HR. By HR, I mean recruiting teachers and managers for each of these schools. So it was like I
Okay.
was running a business in a business, right? Right. So, and
That's a
what I
lot.
so what I found out was that for the schools where I had dissatisfied teachers, and they were community schools. So when I had dissatisfied teachers and I was trying to recruit new teachers, these prospective teachers would go ask the teachers about their experience in the school. Now, because these guys were not happy, it was affecting my ability to hire new teachers. So at some point, I was now short-staffed.
Oh, wow.
And being short-staffed was now affecting academic improvements. And parents started complaining. And parents started withdrawing.
So
So things.
all of it is connected. All of it is
exactly. So I remember a project I worked on. When I noticed this, I did a project called Walking in Their Moxings, where I literally went into a school, spent a day there as a teacher in the classroom, just trying to understand what they go through the whole day, right? And one of the things that stood out for me was they didn't have break time. So they run from morning till when school closes. There was no break time in between. Like nobody, I can't even function that way, right? I can't even function that way. I noticed that ventilation was also a problem. I noticed that, classroom management was a problem because of the number of people students in the class. So those very practical insights came up. So when a child is struggling, it's highly likely that the teacher will not offer additional support.
okay.
But focus on those that are doing well. You understand?
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. Not because, and then what happens is they may ask the child to stay behind while others go out for break. So
Yes.
meaning that if I was to offer the additional support as a teacher, I don't get break time. And then you get, so it's that's working in their mock scenes. It was a research that I did, and it opened up so many things that needed to change, and just took baby steps around. Okay, we need to have a buffer teacher that just rotates, around the classes. Let this teacher have 30-45 minutes break. And again, it's baby steps. You can't change the system overnight.
Yes, we always emphasize that it is a journey. We will see the current state and identify the ideal state, but there is no silver bullet. You're not going to get there overnight. And there are different things that will come along the journey that will make us rethink. Because no matter if you're in the same industry, no two businesses are the same. They're not the same, and you have to work in the framework that is there. So we try to emphasize that part a lot. I am so glad we were able to do this, Debbie. I know my audience would have been so happy to be able to interact with you. They love to fire off the questions and agree and disagree. So I hope one other time in the future we will be able to do something live together. But I am really happy we got the opportunity today. I want to encourage I want to encourage everyone to check out Debbie's profile again and look on the resources she has there. She has some great ones. I love the books. And remember that we have CX Unlocked out right now, or coming out soon. So sign up and
yes.
Thanks again, Debbie.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.